Are you a Pirates of the Caribbean fan? Huh, who isn't? These movies move so quickly with all their high seas adventure and swashbuckling swordplay that should be excused for overlooking the tiny nuances concealed in the frames. It's been challenging to keep track of all of the underlying surprises in the season. Here are 21 details that only fans noticed. Number 1. A bottle of wine is chugged by the captain of the Black Pearl at the conclusion of the brilliantly spooky scene in which Elizabeth learns that Barbossa and his crew transform into skeletons under the moonlight. Wine naturally drips off his ribs and onto the deck. Actually, an animatronic skeleton can be seen doing the same thing on the Pirates ride at Disney World, where this was shot from. Number 2. Jack the monkey, who is paid by Jack for Tia's assistance, runs off into a rear room and sits at the end of the bed. It appears that more than just Barbossa's head was present at Tia Dalma's house before anyone was aware, because there is a pair of boots on the bed. It's actually Barbossa. Number 3. The group finds many strange and fascinating items while inside Tia Dalma's house, but only one thing in particular that Jack examines has a deeper significance than the majority. He takes up a head that seems like it has feathers and is black. Actually, this is Barbossa's headgear. This is essentially a simple hint to the captain's return, given that we already know he comes back at Tia Dalma's request at the conclusion of Dead Man's Chest. Number 4. The crew's appearance changes in the moonlight, but it's less evident how their attire and accessories alter. In this scenario, Raggedy is holding an attractive, complete fan close to his face. The fan plainly transforms into a shredded, wrecked replica of its former self, much like the pirates themselves, though until Pinsel chokes him and the moonlight hits them both. Number 5. For most of the films in the series, Jack's face is covered with a scab. It initially isn't particularly evident, but throughout the course of the first film and its sequels, it gradually becomes more and more obvious. This is simply a joke between Johnny Depp and the makeup artist for the movie, who believe that Jack's scab is actually caused by syphilis. Number 6. Lockets and locks on Davy Jones's chest are identical. It appears that all three things have a crab motif. Jones's chest resembles the man himself, who has a crab claw in place of an arm, so it's not odd that it would, but it's cool to see the design consistency throughout the films. Number 7. In Dead Man's Chest, the Pirates universe is further developed, and at the beginning, Will, Jack, and company find themselves on a cannibal island. Certain persons are revered as gods by the cannibals, who believe that by devouring them, they will be liberated from the constraints of their human form. While they appear to have done it to others before, they are attempting to do it to Jack. A wig that betrays a resemblance to Governor Swan's is being worn by this tribesman. Maybe this tribesman thought it would be cool to keep a souvenir from the island's unwitting governor. Number 8. The compass that Jack Sparrow uses is rather unique. It points in the direction of whatever the user most wants, not north. This is why it's significant that when Commodore James Norrington kidnaps Jack and takes his compass, it points right at him. This is presumably due to the fact that he is close to Elizabeth and that jailing Jack is his primary priority. Number 9. In At World's End, Barbossa has a significant role, especially during the movie's climactic confrontation between the Black Pearl and the Flying Dutchman across a maelstrom. Barbossa shouts, "It'll be too late to change course now," as the ships continue to clash. This quotation is taken directly from an animated pirate in the Disney ride. Number 10. In this sequel, Elizabeth takes on more of the action herself by tricking a group of superstitious pirates into going to Tortuga. She accomplishes this by disguising herself as a ghost on board and setting the word Tortuga ablaze on the deck. The font that Tortuga appears to be written in is actually the same as the vintage Disney logo if you look closely. Number 11. When Jack and Will are trying to flee, Will Turner enters a lobster trap, which initially appears to be a simple joke. However, in a surprisingly simple to overlook detail, he really utilizes this lobster trap to fasten the rudder of the ship they hop onto, to keep it from pursuing them when they commandeer another ship. Number 12. In the whole Pirates narrative, Norrington's character journey is one of the strongest, and Dead Man's Chest is when he is at his lowest point. He joins Jack's crew after being discovered on Tortuga, intoxicated and destitute. In this instance, he is forced to sweep the deck immediately and is given a job. However, Norrington wears his former Commodore wig rather than the clothing that other pirates employ. Pretty tragic actually. In order to clean the deck in his new life as a pirate, he is utilizing the actual remains of his wrecked old life. Number 13. The relationship between Tia Dalma and Davy Jones is revealed in At World's End, but it is highly hinted at in Dead Man's Chest. A connection between the two characters was implied long before we were aware of it by the similarity of their lockheads. Number 14. Even The Curse of the Black Pearl, with its historical backdrop and Disney budget, makes the usual movie mistake of having crew personnel appear in the background. A crew member may be seen in the background seemingly staring out into the distance in the movie's last scene, which is Jack taking the helm of the Black Pearl as captain once more, but it's a film crew member, not a member of the Black Pearl crew. Number 15. When inside Davy Jones's locker, Jack Sparrow experiences mild hallucinations of several different Jacks, which illustrates his erratic behavior. One of them is shirtless and has multiple tattoos, including 2 on his back. They are essentially concealed Easter eggs themselves if you look attentively. One of them is a tattoo of Mickey Mouse, while the other is a sea turtle tattoo. Because of Jack's infamous tale about seemingly leaving an island on sea turtles with straps fastened to his feet, sea turtles are significant in Pirates films. Number 16. Just as Jack is about to stab Davy Jones in the heart with his broken sword, Jones is stabbed in the chest by Davy Jones. But the sword that Jones wields was the identical one that Will had crafted for Norrington in the first film and given to Governor Swan in the very first moment of the character had ever appeared in. Cutler Beckett kept the sword in Deadman's chest for a while before returning it to Norrington after the former Commodore was promoted to Admiral. Later, in At World's End, Norrington assisted Elizabeth in escaping, and then, before passing away, he stabbed Davy Jones with the sword. Jones, who can't be slain so easily, commented on what a wonderful sword it was and kept it for himself. Finally, everything came full circle when Jones swung the sword into the Maker's chest. Number 17. Orlando Bloom's portrayal of Legolas in Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings film series catapulted him to celebrity. The Fellowship actors in those movies all received tattoos as a memento of their time acting in the movies. Bloom had his done in Elvish. This scene, in which Bloom's Will Turner faces off against Jack Sparrow, makes that tattoo very clear. Number 18. At the conclusion of At World's End, Barbossa and the Black Pearl's crew abandon Jack. He is forced to travel alone across the ocean in his own tiny dinghy, but at least he takes the time to customize it. He waves a flag with the skull and Crossbones Pirates emblem, but the material also has a red sparrow embroidered on it. Number 19. When Jack and Barbossa attempt to acquire the fabled chalices for the Fountain of Youth in the 4th movie On Stranger Tides, we observe a skeleton in a bed with a crown on its head aboard the Santiago. Directly off the Disney ride, this picture was captured. Number 20. The late great rock star Keith Richards, who later went on to play Jack Sparrow's father in At World's End, served as some of Johnny Depp's inspiration for his depiction of Jack Sparrow. Jack asks his father how his mother is at the moment, where they are at the Pirate Council. His father responds by holding up a shrunken head. We learn that Jack is actually wearing his mother around on his waist when Will, Davy, and Cutler Beckett are confronted by Jack, Barbossa, and Elizabeth on an island later in the film. Number 21. The screen briefly turns black after Barbossa and the crew plunge down the edge of the waterfall and into the world. And over the blackness, the famous tune Pirate's Life for Me and the line Dead Men Tell No Tales are played. They both come from the renowned ride at Disney, and they appear in various scenes. While shipwrecked on the island in The Curse of the Black Pearl, Jack and Elizabeth perform Pirate's Life for Me, and Cotton's parrot declares that Dead Men Tell No Tales as they search for Isla de Muerta in the same film.